Good morning, all. Hopefully, everybody is having a great day. I apologize for our tardiness. It is all on me. I kind of overslept. I had a migraine last night the size of the Titanic. I think there was icebergs getting hit in my head last night, and nobody told me that there was only a one-way section. But anyway, I'm here. My head is somewhat okay, and
I'm
we
glad for
made
that.
it. We're only 16 minutes late.
Well, 11.
Yeah. All right. So with that, I'm going to quickly take a spin through chat, and then we'll bring up our guest. Welcome, John DeMarco, Gorilla's Random Thoughts, Mark Dainfully Tired, my dear Mrs. Canuck, welcome, my dear, and Thomas Potts, welcome, and bringing up our guest, DEEJ.
Vive la Canada!
Yeah, no shit.
Hey, I'm used to shows starting late. I'm part of Team Honstar now for name that.
Oh
team.
yeah, well that's definitely
Never on time. What are you talking about?
yeah. On time? No.
That's silly talk.
I'm used to it too. Conti always starts late as well, so you know.
Yeah, and I'll be late to my own funeral, so.
I'm not going to mine.
All right. So what? We'll let you start the topics, and we'll just roll with you. We'll let you start, and we'll fill in the blanks.
What were we talking about today, DEEJ?
Yeah.
I kind of thought. Well, you kind of said that music was my forte since I used to be a DJ.
Yeah.
What's going on now? I kind of thought perfectly with Jeff kind of bringing it up to me too that protest songs might be good.
Yes. Yep.
Even though I'm not going to do this really long, I'm not going to get you in trouble, but I think this is the only thing that matters right now. Yep, that's it.
Yep.
I think
it's been on karaoke a couple of times, I might say.
That's all we need right there is that one, but you know, that kind of was basically a novelty song as a protest song against gas prices and shit.
Yes.
Subsidies.
Yes. No. That was a big thing. I mean, if you think about it, those protests back then created everything we know about truckers. The language, the like they never used to use like the secret, like the language on a CB, which we've always heard about. None of that happened until those protests because they had to make sure the police couldn't read them on the scanner or understand what the hell they were saying. So a whole new language was developed out of that, out of those.
And now we have to reform that language because we know that they're still watching us no matter what.
Oh, yes.
Who's watching us?
Depends on what state and province you're in.
Yep.
That's true.
Well, actually, I guess since we should be PC, it could be the man or the woman or whichever you claim to be. I don't know. It's hard to tell these days.
Yes. But yeah, I for sure, music has played a major role, and it's really been. I think if you want to look at like each generation's how things went, just listen to the songs. Because
a lot of people think like the protest song kind of started in the 60s, but it didn't. It goes way back before that.
Oh yeah.
You can go clear back to the 30s with Billie Holiday and Strange Fruit song. 1939. That was one of the first popular protest type songs to come out.
And what were they protesting?
That was all about racism. Clear back then. Billie Holiday.
And not only that, but songs not only were used as protest songs, but songs were used as propaganda. I mean, look at World War II.
Oh yeah.
I mean, World War II, you get some of that music and it supports your country, go serve, go die. Right? It's
Even hand over all your money.
yeah. Music was used as propaganda. They would have, the popular singers come out with songs that supported the war, and you'd be listening to your favorite tunes, and they would be telling you support support the flag, support the U.S., support, go jump and die, the yada yada yada. Uh, you know, so they not only were they used as protest songs, but propaganda as well.
And you still kind of see that today with a lot of music.
Absolutely, you do. I think they're a little less subtle now, though.
No,
old songs. I always find they had a subtlety to them. They didn't come out and slap you in the face with what they were trying to get you to do.
Well, that's because they knew that people didn't want to be slapped over the face, so they had to do it in an ingenious way to just kind of push you in a direction to get what you wanted.
Yeah. They were a little bit more subtle about it. And they made sure that the music sounded good too.
Yeah.
That's important.
Not just.
Yeah. I mean, the song you played a couple of seconds of, "Convoy." If you're a young kid, because that's when I first heard it, you like that opening intro to that song. It's catchy. It gets stuck in your head. The music, the music really hits you. And
I'm kind of convinced that C.W. McCall was a time traveler.
Yeah,
because he actually put out a sequel to Convoy.
Yes, he did. Yeah. It's very not as well known, but yes, he did.
Around the World with Rubber Duck. But it kind of put in motion what's going on today with convoys springing up all around the world.
Okay, so we have a question for you, and I could name a couple, but as we said, our music historian is DEEJ, because he used to do DJing, so he probably knows more songs than we know that were written. So Harry wants to know what kind of songs, what names of certain songs. We've already mentioned Convoy, of course, because that's topical today. But what other songs qualify as protest songs in your mind?
Oh, hell. You got Born in the USA is a protest song. It is not a song that was meant to be out there for patriotism. It was actually slapping down at the government for things that they weren't doing. Sam Cooke, A Change Is Going to Come. Sam Cooke only did it live once, didn't really want it released as a single, and it didn't come out until after he passed away. And that's one of the most popular of those.
Harry, I'm confused. I never said.
I think Harry's asking about NAMM, and well, NAMM did have some protest songs come out during that, but that's not the only areas that protest songs came out in.
No, they were popular then, but no, that wasn't the only time.
But if you want to go with NAMM, then you got CCR's Fortunate Son right there. That's one for that.
Yeah. And I mean, you see it, you see both. And like I said, music wasn't only, it wasn't only for protesting, but it was also for rallying a country. I mean,
or rallying a cause.
Yeah, or rallying a cause. You can go to 9/11. How many songs do we know that are around 9/11?
Courtesy
Where
of the
were
Red,
you when the world stopped turning?
Courtesy
Stuff like that.
Red, White, and Blue. Toby Keith.
Yep. So the songs throughout history have been used not only, like I said, to protest something, but also to rally a nation. Like 9/11 is a perfect example because you have so many songs. Where were my one of my favorites was "Where Were You When the World Stopped Turning," and that song was made to rally the United States.
It's like John Lennon in 71 put out a lot of political songs. You had Give Me Some Truth, I Don't Want to Be a Soldier, Mama, I Don't Want to Die. And the biggest one that he put out was Imagine. Most people don't look at it as Imagine like a protest song, but it was. What's Going On? Marvin Gaye.
Yeah. Even the Beatles chimed in a couple of times, didn't they?
The Beatles were more, how should I say? Towards the end, they started getting more political, but they really didn't get into it full swing until after they broke up and became individual artists.
Okay.
You could almost say that maybe Revolution was, but that's about as far as I would take the Beatles with that. It wasn't until after they got solo artist statues that they went full on, and that's where like Lennon went, because Lennon was more the outspoken type. Paul McCartney just kind of wanted to do his own thing and do his own style and didn't really dive deep. He put out one or two, but nothing like Lennon did.
Yeah.
And Ringo just wanted to be Ringo.
Over the years, what would you say your standout bands are? If you wanted to get a feel for what each series would be like, you go in the 70s, what would be the bands you'd want that would come to mind in the 70s, 80s, 90s, etc. for like more political music than?
Let's see. 70s, late 60s, early 70s, I would go with Creedence Clearwater Revival. Mid 70s, early 80s, I would go with Pink Floyd.
Okay.
Because Pink Floyd was heavily into the messaging, especially towards the end of the period where Roger Waters was part of the group.
Mm-hmm.
Roger Waters continued with his afterwards. '80s, that one's a little bit tougher. You got like Bruce Springsteen with a little bit. Hell, Public Enemy, Fight the Power at the late '80s.
Okay.
They kind of got away from that until rap industry really got into being political.
Okay, yeah.
But you can't really ask me too much about rap because, well, I think it's crap. And
yeah, I would agree. I would agree with you.
Rock and roll.
No offense to anyone in the chat.
Yeah, of course, but
yeah, you can like rap if you want. It's just not I'm an old man, and
I'm a young man in an old man's body, old man in a young man's body. There we go. There we go. Right.
Rap to me was the Fat Boys. Come on, Fat Boys were the only good rap for me.
So when you were DJing, I gotta ask this. When you were DJing, how many times did you get a song request and you're like, you know what that song means, right? But okay.
Well, I only really did that when they used to request I Don't Look Good Naked Anymore and kept wanting to dedicate it to
okay.
me. But most of my listeners, not all, but most were of an older generation than me. So they pretty much knew what the hell they were requesting.
Yeah.
Of course, they would get a little frustrated with me because I would tend to play something they didn't like, but
it happens.
I am the odd one, so.
Well, of course.
I'm the bad boy of rock and roll.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Would Elvis's In the Ghetto qualify?
In the Ghetto, yes, that was, and so was If I Can Dream. If I Can Dream, he only did that one time during the 68 comeback special, and that was a song specifically wrote for him because he was hurting at the assassinations of Martin Luther King and Robert Kennedy.
Yeah.
And of course, Colonel Parker did not want that song. He wanted Elvis to do Blue Christmas because the special was coming out close to Christmas time. And it's one of the rare times that Elvis actually put his foot down to Parker and said, no, I'm doing what I want to do.
Yeah.
And it's basically the best song on that entire special.
Yeah, because Elvis had a couple. Johnny Cash had a couple. A lot of the older country song singers you could nail down to a couple of them. Merle. I've been singing one of Merle's that I like is "The Good Times Really Over for Good." That was a impact song that still is freaking relevant today, but that's besides the point.
Well, a lot of the country artists back then were the ones that were more putting out those type of thought-provoking songs.
Yeah. Waylon, Merle, Johnny.
Mac Davis is the one that actually wrote In the Ghetto.
Yeah.
It just got more popular when Elvis did it.
Well, yeah. A lot of times it's not the song, it's who sings it. I mean,
hell, even Me and Bobby McGee was written by Chris Christopherson.
Yeah.
But nobody really knew what the hell it was until a certain female sang it. Janice.
But music, I think throughout history, you could look back and you could tell what was going on just by listening to the popular songs. Nowadays, not so much. You can to some degree, but
I don't listen to modern music too much.
Well, the problem with modern music is they're less willing to take a risk. Like if Johnny wanted to release a song, Johnny released a song. If it didn't do well, it didn't do well. That's why you got a lot more religious albums from Johnny than you otherwise would. But nowadays it's so filtered from like the I think from the industry that if they do get one in, it has to be something that the record label isn't going to get flack for. Or it doesn't see the light of day. I think they're a lot more censored now than they were before.
No, I think it's all about money, actually.
Well, there's that. That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah. John DeMarco made a comment earlier in the chat. He said, depending on your definition of protest song, they can go back even longer than that. For example, The Minstrel Boy is a song about Irish rebellion. DEEJ, I don't know if you know anything about that particular song or not.
That one I do not know. Like I kind of said, I was more of the rock and roll type, and my specialties were 50s, 60s, 70s, into the 80s. That's what my kind of music forte was. If I needed to look something up for a specialty show that I did, I usually did and found out some of the things, but
So, I guess, like we've talked about a lot of the top ones. There were songs back in the day that were disguised. So if you didn't know what the guy was talking about, you'd think it would mean one thing, and then once you understood what they were talking about, you learn it was something completely different. Some artists had that capability, and right now my brain isn't working completely. So, um,
and you think mine is?
well,
Mine
I'm
never
hoping.
works. Mine never
Yeah.
works.
Well, yeah. I mean, I need to get that chip upgrade so that I can just
I need a
hit a
chip.
button and boot it up or something.
I'm still running on
Wouldn't that be
test
nice?
on tubes and wires.
yeah,
Well,
I need the chip upgrade.
well, Thomas wants to know if there have been any songs about cheating on video games.
Thomas, there was no cheating, period. No.
I'm not exactly sure what he's referring to, but
I put out a short little series, 10 videos in the last week or so that I was playing 7 Days to Die. And
I noticed that.
Thomas, everywhere I go, accuses me of cheating on whatever I'm doing, whether it's
yes.
Jackbox, now the video game.
Mm-hmm. No.
That's one of his favorite topics to talk about.
He's
Cheating. Other people cheating.
He even thinks I'm cheating when I spin the wheel now to figure out what song to play for Name That Tune. He thinks
yeah.
rigged the wheel.
Does it always land on rock? Because if it does, then I might have, you might have an argument.
Last night it was almost 50-50 rock or pop.
Okay.
It only
lands on pop, DEEJ isn't cheating.
I'm not even playing anymore. I'm just the host. So why would I rig it?
Oh, for the fun of it.
Depending on who's playing, I guess.
Well, if I was going to rig it to mess with people, I'd have it land on country every single time.
Oh, yeah. Then you'd be my friend, yeah. Because then I might know some of them, yeah. But I think music plays a bigger role than we give it credit for a lot of times. Because, like I said, 9/11 is a perfect example. World War II is another perfect example of, or Nam for that matter, of you hear a song and you immediately think of something, right? Like you think of something that happened. 9/11, like I said, is a big one because it's the freshest one in people's minds. But you get those songs, and they're sometimes more moving than any political speech known to man, because they're just
one song that comes to mind to me is Eve of Destruction.
Mm-hmm.
You hear that playing and you automatically think of the civil rights strife in the 60s.
Yeah, and there are a lot of those songs, and I think if we really went back and really took a hard look, you would be like, wow, never thought of it that way. And I just like the song. Yeah, you like the song, but here's what it meant.
Yeah, like Sly and the Family Stones, Everyday People. If you heard that, what would you think?
I'm trying to picture the song in my head, and I can't.
Everyday people.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Oh, yeah. It just sounds like a good, fun little song that you dance to, but it's basically represented as a movement towards racial equality.
Yeah.
But you'd actually have to listen and dig down into it to figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of the old songs were like that, though. Like I said, they were a lot better at being subtle. I mean, some of them would come out and just kick it right through the speaker, but Some of them were cryptic. They were, they were a little bit more not up in your face about it. They were a little bit more okay, we're just gonna quiet down and we're gonna throw this in, but we're gonna cover it up with some nice scenery, and those who know and those who don't. But either way, it's a song that'll be enjoyed, but we'll go with it.
So if you're curious, I just posted a link from John DeMarco concerning the story behind the minstrel boy. So if anyone wants to read up on that, the link is there.
Awesome. Thank you.
Here's one. This land is your land.
Oh, yeah. Sang in every school known to man, yeah.
Yeah.
But if you really dig down to it, it was Woody Guthrie questioning the notion of private ownership of property.
Yeah.
That kind of talk gets you in trouble these days.
Oh, yes. Got you in trouble those days, too.
But that was a subtle way of him putting out what he felt and what he thought while trying to evade people that would look at him as a commie. Private ownership. So you just kind of got to dig down into them songs that you listen to and really try to figure out what it means.
And welcome, Bird. Also, I think the dangerous thing about music to some degree is you can have 5 people listen to a song and not one of them is going to agree on what it's about.
That's true.
Right? Like you can literally put down a song, and as long as it's not like in your face, like remember where you were when the world stopped turning, if it's not that blunt, if it's one of the subtle songs, you can have 5 people listen to it, and 5 different people are going to have 5 different explanations for what the song is.
Yeah, it's like the song "Bird is the Word." Who knew that it was actually praise of a Krogan dictator?
Yeah, who knew? Who'd have thunk?
Sorry, Bird, you popped in the chat. I had to do it.
Yeah. But like each song is when they were cryptic. When they were cryptic, they would mean different things to different people, and they'd start a discussion. I think those were the most important ones, the ones that would start a conversation.
That's the thing lacking nowadays, though, conversation, because nobody wants to have a conversation. People just want to use like emergency powers to shut down one side.
Oh, yeah, I'll be getting into that later today.
Yeah. So throw that in there, but it's topic of the day. It's the topic of the day. You go anywhere right now on YouTube, and you're going to run into it somewhere.
Yep, absolutely. And not only that, but I mean, you look at the roles that music has played throughout the years, and some of it has been used for good, some of it's been used for bad. I mean, you look at before video games, what was blamed for children's bad behavior? Music,
rock and roll music.
Right? Like before video games came along and they had a new fall guy, music was the root of all evil because it was poisoning the minds of our youth.
Well, before rock and roll, it was rhythm and blues. Before that, country. Before that, it was something else, and blah blah blah.
Whatever the new thing is.
Whatever the new thing is.
New and popular.
Yeah, new and popular. It's bad.
I can't wait till I become the new and popular thing, so I get blamed for everything.
Yeah, Yeah.
I'll take the drunk.
Well, we have Matthew for that. We blame Matthew for everything.
Matthew's just not as fun at it, though. He just sits back and takes it.
Well, he knows that it's true, so.
Bird of Prey just said that all songs are about him, so I guess when I listen to Helen Reddy's I Am Woman, Hear Me Roar, that's about Bird of Prey.
Well, according to Thomas Potts, there's this one.
I feel like a woman. There's a couple of women songs there that Bird just admitted are about him.
And John DeMarco says the minstrel boys being used as a rallying cry for the orphans in the mines.
Poor orphans.
But I mean, to me, I thought it would be really cool to have DEEJ on and talk about music, because when you look back at history, that's the last thing you look at. When I think it should be one of the first things you look at is what was the music of the day, because a lot of the struggles and a lot of the overtones and commentary of that generation are in their music, one way or another. But it's not something that's looked at. It's looked over to what blah blah politician said, or what what was being said in the news. And I think music is a better representation overall of what the common person was thinking at the time, because that's who the music was made for, right? That's who's buying the LPs. That's who's buying the stuff off the shelf, is your common person. So it had to be, I wouldn't, dumb down is such a bad way of putting it, but it had to be so that your average person could understand.
Mm-hmm.
And before, it used to have to be subtle. As I've said a couple of times, it had to be subtle. It couldn't be in your face.
Well, sometimes in your face were big, kind of like in the 80s with the Dead Kennedys.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say what the title of the song was, but we'll just say that it was something punks, something off.
But I mean, and like to your point, there were some in-your-face songs, but for the most part, a lot of them were. I mean, Convoy, which we started out the show with. If you didn't know about the 73, 74, 75 rally, you would just think it was a cute little trucking song.
Just a little novelty song that was put out there to enjoy the public.
Yeah. It's not till you go back and you look and you go, oh, wait a second. Hold a minute.
They were actually using that to blast what the government was doing with pricings and regulations. And
gas prices, regulation, toll booths. Yeah. So it's really interesting to see how songs like that have lasted.
And what's interesting is see how the songs come back around.
Yes.
With current events.
Yeah. Yes. Especially Convoy.
Yeah, because I'm sure it's going to start getting played Wednesday when the American version of Convoy starts trucking across the country.
Yes. Yeah.
I heard not. I did not hear a start date for that. That's going to be this Wednesday.
That's Wednesday. They start up, but they're taking different routes with some of the trucks, so they can't get bogged down in just one place. Plus, they're splitting up because they have alternate routes that others are going to come down to keep joining.
Yeah. Oh, that's been done for the longest time, though. But, I mean, if you look at just music in general, I would say that some of the best songs I like that speak to, well, Johnny Cash would be one of my favorites. Johnny, Merle, Waylon, some of Christofferson's, but it just, there's a song you could use it, and it can fit several different things. Like I said, some of the songs you play, and you play it for 10 people, and 10 people come away with a different message.
Yeah, like Skinner.
That's very.
Leonard Skinner.
Music's always been subjective. Sorry, DEEJ.
Yeah, but well, it's like Leonard Skinner. You can listen to that, and you can get multiple interpretations out of it. The only important thing is a Southern man don't need Neil around anyhow.
So, who would be the most what would be the most influential bands on you? If you looked at your
me, if I was to go with just a generic list on who would be the most influential, not to me personally, but to those that I would say fit, Bob Dylan would be up there.
Okay.
I would say Creedence Clearwater would be up there. I would say the Byrds are up there. And then Lennon after the Beatles.
Okay.
I would have to put John Lennon right up there too after the Beatles, because he did a hell of a lot of them.
Yeah. Yeah, he did. Well, once he branched off from the Beatles, he was a different. It was a different sound for sure. What would be your favorite Lennon song?
Let's see. Actually, my favorite Lennon songs came more with the Double Fantasy.
Okay.
Album. Because I liked Woman. I liked basically everyone that he did. Not the Yoko parts.
Okay.
Another one that I haven't mentioned, but would be more modern, is Green Day's American Idiot.
Oh, yeah.
Though I like the Weird Al version better.
Yeah.
Well, it's Trudeau now.
Well, yeah, it is.
You have a point.
It is, yeah.
So see, Weird Al was ahead of his time too.
Yeah. He must have read up on Pierre and went, "Oh, his son's going to take office. Here, let me write this song." Yeah. But it's just interesting to me how you could sit there and you could point to different people and go, okay, what song, what song shaped you, and they'd have an answer, as opposed to what political speech really moved you, and they'd be sitting there, we'll name off the top 5, of the greatest hits. Whereas with music, you can get a much more diverse look at a person by what songs shaped them, I think, anyway.
At times you could even throw in We Are the World.
Yeah. A lot of those songs like that were like I said, nation cries. And I mean, I don't know a lot of the World War II songs, but a lot of the World War II songs were, based on the war. And usually they were to, get you to buy bonds or get you to do something, but it was put in your music.
They used the music to try to make it cool.
Yeah. And then,
Yep. That's what it is.
And then
World War II used the music to try to make it look cool. Vietnam used the music to show how wrong it was.
Yeah. And then, and then you kind of get the break off after that, where, you'll get some that are for and some that are opposed. And then modern music, I don't know. I think they try, but I don't think
the problem with modern music is everybody is so polarized now that even if something is wrong and fake, music tries to put out something to still hold it up like it's truth. And that's what's wrong with the music nowadays. That, and it just has no more soul.
No, it's just generic.
It's either rap music or it's a bunch of electronic garbage.
Yeah. And now we sound like a whole bunch of old men sitting on the front porch with our canes. But it's funny because that's the one thing,
That's funny. I can remember my grandmother saying the same exact thing in the 90s.
Yep. Yeah, that's why I said we're the old men now sitting on the front porch waving our canes going, you youngins don't know what music is, you bastards. And Crystal Combs goes, the problem with modern music is it sucks. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
It sucks.
There's a comedy country song that came out a little while ago by Cletus T. Judge, and I find it funny because it was supposed to be a humor song, and when I listen to it, I'm like, I can't argue with him. I really can't, and the song is, if this is country music, we're screwed.
Well, modern country music really isn't country music.
No, it's pop. Thanks, pop. Shania. But yeah, it's mainly pop music now. Yeah,
and I really hate to shame people for their music choices, but I do have to add something that we did find out last night.
Oh,
Elihu is a Nickelback fan.
Oh.
So if you see him, just remind him of that.
Okay. Yeah. So for me, like I listen to Johnny Cash. I listen to some of the old trucker music. Some of the best trucker music. Truckers being in the limelight. I love Red Solvine.
Oh yeah, Phantom 309.
Yep, Phantom 309, Teddy Bear, and I don't mean the Elvis version. Teddy Bear 2.
The Teddy Bear that'll make you cry.
The saddest country song ever written, Little Rosa.
No. The saddest country song is Old Shep.
Is which?
Old Shep.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And yes, George Strait, Crystal Combs is definitely a good choice. Always a good choice.
And I have to get this out of the way too. Sherry baby. Every time I see the lovely Sherry, I have to
yes.
I have to sing it every time I see her, or I get in trouble.
Oh, you don't want to get in trouble. That's never a good thing.
Aren't you usually in trouble?
Yeah, but I'm trying to at least keep one person on YouTube that doesn't
okay.
hold me to triple standard.
Okay.
And so far I have Sherry there as long as I keep singing the song.
Okay. Well, there you go. And like I don't know, like what it just drives me crazy that, you look back and, like I said, a lot of each generation's stories are in the music, and that's the last place people look, is in the music. They look at, what was popular in the news, what was making headlines at the time. And the undercurrent, which is where a lot of the real stuff is in the music. And I think a lot of people would do well to go back and just listen to what was out there for the music wise during that era. And I think you'd have a better picture of what was really going on than listening to every political speech that was said during that time. But that's just me.
And yes, I admit, I do not listen to any of the newer music, James Furman, because it just does not grab me. It does not give me any sort of a tingle or a thrill. I enjoy the older music because it actually had real stories and real music.
Yeah. A lot of the new stuff just sounds the same.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yes, Don McLean's American Pie was a great song.
Yep. It's been redone and redone and redone.
And some of them shouldn't have redone it and should be taken out and drawn and quartered for trying to do it.
Well, there's that too.
Like Madonna.
Oh, yeah. Well, like for good example of that, and speaking of a song we've mentioned a couple of times, there's a Canadian artist that I really like, except his version of Convoy. He never should have done that.
One of the better songs from the 60s, Buffalo Springfield, for what it's worth. Rather fitting today, too.
Mm-hmm.
Sit down and listen to the lyrics.
Yep.
Not that I'm some long-haired hippie. It just fits. Though I did have a mullet last year, so I guess I could have been considered a long-haired hippie.
Well, yeah, you could have. Yeah. Yeah. Details. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to go around. We'll let everybody do a little bit of self-promoting, and then we'll get out of here. Jeff, you start.
I just want to welcome everyone to A Question of Trek. We're on Sundays at 4:30 Eastern Time. You can be on the show. Join us in chat. Sometimes we ask people to come up on the show and play from the chat. So be there. We have a lot of fun, a lot of banter, and a lot of Star Trek. So a lot of fun there. And animations. I always forget the animations.
Yeah.
Fantastic animations.
The animations, yes. All right, DEEJ, your turn.
Really quickly, since James mentioned it, yes,
there it is.
I do have the suit too, so
the super suit.
Well, let's see. I'm DEEJ. You can find me on my own channel, DEEJ Odyssey, where I just do panels like this where we sit up and discuss whatever's going on, whenever. Plus, you can find me right now, Sunday nights, over on Hanstar's channel as a member of Team Hanstar. We're doing, right now, Name That Tune tryouts. So if you like to guess songs, you don't need to know the artist, just the songs. Come on over there and try out. And we do, on the weeks that we're not doing Name That Tune, we do Jackbox game nights. So it's kind of a combination of both. We're always looking for new people to play that too. So pop on over there. And that's about all I got right now. I usually pop here and there wherever somebody's crazy enough to let me up.
You're always welcome either here or Rambling Canuck. You're always welcome. And you're always welcome on karaoke nights. You gotta join us again, there, my friend.
I'm behaving right now.
So for me, I have later on this afternoon at about 2:30 Central, I believe is what I'm aiming for. I will have a Convoy live stream on Rambling Canuck because I'm keeping a lot of the modern day stuff off this channel. So over on Rambling Canuck, I will have my take on the absolute nightmare that is Canada right now. So that should be fun and thought-provoking. Then I plan on having on this channel, to make up for the fact that I completely goobered last week and we didn't have a roundtable. At some point this week, I will have a special dropping on Terry Fox because it came up during the convoy here in Canada. Who the hell is Terry Fox? So I'm going to do a little bit of a quick dive into Terry Fox. It won't be very long, but I will be doing that. And yeah, life with Matthew. I'm aware. However, I just don't care at this point. They know where to find me. But so this afternoon we'll be having a quick little live stream. Shouldn't be any longer than an hour. I've got some things I want to say, and I'll get it out then. I believe Mary's Game Room has her schedule up and running. So do check out Mary's Game Room, my love's channel. She goes every second Monday, every second Wednesday, and I believe every second Saturday, which might be changing to every Saturday. But just hit the old subscribe and bell icon, and you'll get notified every time she goes live. It's always a fun time. Also, we should have Mr. CCDV here on Friday, where we will once again go into his military service and talk about the things he experienced. And we're getting to, we left last time on a cliffhanger. We're going to get to one of my favorite stories where, a fuel bag may or may not have gone boom. So that should be entertaining. And then we also have on Rambling Canuck, we have the karaoke, which is every Saturday night, 9:05. For the most part, I'm on there, except for like last Saturday where I just couldn't do it anymore and I had to step down. Then my love Mary takes over and she runs the rest of the show. But karaoke is pretty much the mainstay. It's always on, whether I can make it or not. It's always there. So there's that. I have a couple more things that I'm looking at coming out with on Rambling Canuck. As I put it the other day in a channel update, Rambling Canuck's going to go a little bit more political. And that's just because I'm tired of not talking about all the garbage that's around.
But just so remember, he is Canadian, so it will be polite.
Yeah, that's the biggest myth known to man. Have you seen the news lately? All I gotta say is we are polite up until you get in our way at Tim's line at 6:00 in the morning. Then we're not so polite anymore.
I was reading up, and Timmy's ain't even really Timmy's anymore since it's
it's not.
So every time I've said Timmy Horton sucks, I've been actually true now.
I guess, but it's still better than that Star Fox. I mean, Bucks.
Well, yeah, you had it right the first time.
But with that, folks, as my ex-co-host used to say, thank you and good night.